Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back, and today I'm going to show you something a little bit different. Today I'm going to show you how I actually build each day's meal plans according to the macros I'm supposed to be taking in, my proteins and my carbs and my fats. I'm going to actually show you how I build that every day. I think one of the hardest parts about putting together a meal plan is you can get your numbers. You can go online and do these calculators and get your targets of what you're supposed to take overall. Like, here's how much protein you should have every day and how much fat and how much carbs. That's easy to find. It's a little bit harder, unless you've seen it before, it's a little bit harder to actually put that together into like a daily plan using food. It's a puzzle in a weird way. It sort of becomes like, see how this fits, and then if it doesn't fit quite right with something else, and you move some pieces around. So I thought I'd actually walk you through my actual process that I go through each day to build what I'm going to eat so that I'm hitting my target. So as usual, do me a favor before we get started. If this video is helpful to you whatsoever, please hit the like button, maybe even the subscribe button while you're there. And so yeah, we're gonna go through that today. We're gonna go over how I make my meal plans and do my macros every day through my my app, my Macros Plus app, which is a fantastic app, by the way. And I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna actually go outside. And today would normally be my off day for lifting, but I'm kind of wanting to do some cardio. I'm kind of wanting to do some cardio outside. I am not wanting to do cardio outside when it's like 30 degrees out. That doesn't sound great, but I think I'm gonna do it anyway. So yeah, we'll see. Let's deal with the food part of this first. So here's my app. All right, let's do this. So upper right-hand corner, there's my macros app. We're gonna go ahead and go into that. And this has been a great app. I tell you, just for simplicity, I'll do a video, a review on this app at some point. But this thing has just been awesome. I've been using it for probably 6 months now. Absolutely great. So I'll do a different video on that at some point. All right, there was my yesterday's numbers. In fact, up here at the top, if I scroll to the right, you can see these are the actual what I consumed. I consumed 233 on protein, 502 on carbs, 86 on my fats, and 3,700, just over 3,700 total. And you can see all my numbers are there in the green. Looks good to me. So let's go to today and let's build it from scratch. You can see here, I've got nothing on my plate, literally. So here's how I approach this. I tend to eat a lot of the same things every day, not because I love it, but because I love simplicity. Like I like the easier that things are to achieve. I would trade simplicity over like everything tasting awesome and variety in most cases. So for me, building is fairly easy because I don't mind putting a lot of the same sort of staples each time I build this for each day. For example, every single day I do a pre and a post workout, even if it's an off day, right? Because I still got to hit my numbers. So what I'll do is I'm doing the same thing every pre and post because I've measured all of this out prior. And I know that I need to get a certain amount of protein in on my pre and post workouts. So I'm gonna go to track now. I'm gonna go to recent, and I do two things before my pre-workouts. This is just how I've built this in the past, so I know how this works. I'm going to do, and these are all foods that I have used in the past, as you can see, recent foods at the top. So I'm gonna go down to my protein scoop because I know that's just what it's called. And you can see here, it says 1.5 scoops. That was from the last time that I used it. It was 1.5. That's exactly what I do on my pre and my post. I'm gonna switch the meal. Now you can see pre-workout, 1.5 scoops, and I'm gonna hit save. Now I do one more thing on my pre-workouts. I do some raisins. I actually do 1/3 of a cup of raisins. It's already saved in there as a pre-workout. I'm just gonna hit save. And now, let's see here. You can see I've started to build up a little bit of something. It's logged it, right? It's the only thing that it's logged, but I've started working towards my goals. Now I'm gonna do my post-workout, which is very similar. I'm gonna go to my protein scoop, go to my post-workout, and you can see 1.5 scoops. That's perfect, 37 grams of protein, love it. Let's hit save. What else do I do on my pre-workouts? Well, I do usually a 1/2 cup of wasabi peas, because it's a nice carb jump. You can see there is a nice little bunch of carbs. So I do a 1/2 cup of that. And I also do more raisins afterwards. Raisins has become a very important part of my my daily meal plan because of the carb spike. You can see there, half a cup is 62 carbs with 0 fat. Pretty good trade-off. So, excuse me. So now my pre-workout is done and my post-workout is done, right? I'm getting my proteins, I'm getting my carbs before and after. I usually try to do these within a 30-minute window on either side of my workout. So 30 minutes before I do the pre, 30 minutes after I do the post. And you can see, so at the top, we've started to build towards our overall goals. I've gotten 85 of my 231 protein. I've gotten 141 of my 508 carbs and 14 of my 82 fats. So that's my daily staple. Those are an automatic for me. So one recommendation I would have is figure out what your staples can be and make those automatic towards your days. It'll make calculating your days a lot easier, because now at this point, what I'm going to start to do is add in different pieces of food and sort of play around with the numbers based off of kind of what they're shaping up as for the day. So let's say here, first thing I want to do is a breakfast, right? And for me, I typically do similar breakfasts almost every single day. I do liquid egg whites. So I'm going to go down here. You can see liquid egg whites halfway down. I'm going to click that. And it's at 24 tablespoons is a cup and a half. Let's put that in and see how that looks for now. So breakfast, 24, it's calculated. What else do I do for breakfast? Well, I like doing a couple of pieces of Ezekiel bread. Let's do that because it's low fat, but it's got decent protein and decent carbs in there. I do 2 slices, you can see on the right-hand side. Let's put that in there for now. Let's see what that does. And I also like to do a little bit of Greek yogurt, like those little, I think I don't know who makes them, Dannon maybe? It's like 80 calories for the cup, but it's got like maybe 12 or 13. Let's see, actually it'll tell me. Yep, so 80 calories, 12 proteins, so I do one of those as well. So I'm gonna save that. And that's typically my breakfast. Sometimes I'll move some pieces around, but for now, let's just keep this. So you can see my numbers are starting to change a little bit up at the top, right? So I got 147, my protein, I'm building my numbers, okay? So my breakfast, let's say for now it's done. Let's say, what do I wanna do for lunch? Well, typically one of my staples that I tend to do is some sort of a rice. And I like to do the minute rice by Uncle Ben's, specifically the long grain rice. I've already got this saved into here. So let's change this to lunch. 1 pouch, I've already pre-calculated in how much all of this is going to be for a pouch. I just read the information on the pouch and put it in here. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do a pouch for lunch. Let's say, what else do I want to do for lunch? Well, typically whenever I have rice, I like doing some guacamole with it. These little cups that you can get. I'm not sure who makes them, but they're like a little single serving type of cup. I've already saved in the macros here. Let's go ahead. Now you see here, 11 of fat. This is where you have to start watching, is because fat, you've only got a certain number. It's usually the lowest number on your list. So you have to kind of watch your fat numbers as you start building this to make sure that you don't blow your fat out too quick. But right now I have hardly no fat on my list. So what do we have here so far? Here's my lunch. So we got rice and guacamole. That's not a lot. In fact, if you look at the bottom here, it says 9 proteins, 75 carbs, which is great, and 14 fat. You never want your fat to be too much more than any of your other numbers. Right now it's way higher than protein. So let's fix that. I'm gonna put a little bit of a meat in there, a ground turkey, I think. That seems like that would be, this is sort of like a Mexican bowl, like a taco bowl without the shell type of thing. I usually just throw a lot of these ingredients into a bowl and eat them. So let's do a ground turkey. Let's see here. I can see that right there. Okay. And let's do 7 ounces. Perfect, it's already on there because that's what I did yesterday. Actually, let me drop this down to maybe 5 for now and see maybe if I can eat something a little bit later in the day, not so much at lunch, maybe lighten up my lunch a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a bowl of rice, guacamole, and turkey. So we've got a kind of a nice little rounded lunch here. I have a little bit of salsa, maybe I'll throw in here. It's got hardly anything in it, but you can see 2 tablespoons, has only 3 carbs and 10 calories, but I wanna track it because I'm eating it. All right, so that's kind of looking there like a lunch, right? Pretty good size. I mean, that rice pouch is pretty big. good amount of turkey. You can see now at least my protein and my fat are a little bit more in line with each other. So looking good here. So that's a lunch. Let's do something like, how about a snack in the middle of the day? Let's see here. Well, I have these fruit bars that I use that are really nice for, where are them things at? I know I'm probably looking right at it. Fruit bars, assorted. Is it the assorted ones? No, I'm looking for a 60 calorie one, I think. And I know that because I've used it. Here's a fruit bar small. Where is that son of a gun? Let me go to recents, maybe customs and faves. Let's go to my, whatever is the carb. Let's see. Fruit bar. It just says fruit bar. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Fruit bar, 1 bar, 60 calories, 15 carbs. Those are really nice little fruit bars that I have. I'm not even sure if they're called real fruit or something. Let's just add that in as a snack in the middle of the day. Give me a little bit of extra carbs. I added it in there. So now what I've got, and this is where the weird math starts to come in, is I've got a pre-workout and a post-workout, fine. I've got a breakfast done. I've got a lunch done. I've got a snack. So let's do a dinner. But you can see I'm still pretty far away from my overall numbers that I need to hit, right? I mean, I've got 180 that I've taken in. I still got a little ways to go. In fact, if I scroll over here, this will show me how much I've got left. See there? So I still need 50 protein and 234 carbs. Yikes. So whenever I start building my dinner, I start thinking about it in terms of like, how can I make it suit what I still need? I need a lot of carbs still, right? So let me think here. What I can do is, what do I eat that has a lot of carbs in it typically? Well, I have a high carb cereal that I use called Raisin Nut Bran. I mentioned this yesterday, which is excellent for big carb jumps if you need it. And it's got minimal fat, and with a little bit of almond milk, it's really, really a nice kind of, let me just throw this in here and see what happens. Let me go back to my recents. And let's say about 4 ounces of Raisin Nut Bran right here. I've already got it calculated in there. This is gonna be like a dinner. And you can see all of a sudden my carbs just decreased by quite a bit. I mean, here at the bottom it says dinner, 141 carbs just on the food, just on the actual cereal. No milk, no nothing. So really helped with my overall numbers. Didn't really change my protein that I need at the top or the fat that I need. It changed the fat a little bit actually, about 10%. Actually more than that. But so I still have a little bit of fat though that I need. So let's do, let me see here. How about a little bit of real milk? So sometimes I alternate between standard milk and almond milk, depending on how my numbers kind of look. I might still have to change it depending on how the final numbers look. Let's just see here, 2 cups of milk. You can see 240 calories, 16 proteins, a nice cut there. 22 carbs, nice. 10 fat, it's a little bit high, but let's throw it in there and see where we're at. Well, I'm liking this so far. You can see here, my numbers are getting really close and they're all in green, which means that it's like kind of within the range that you want it to be. Still have a little ways to go though, because you can see I'm 455 calories short of my overall daily total, which means that even though I'm in the green at the top, I can't have a 500 or 450 calorie deficit at the end of the day when I'm trying to build. I'm supposed to be over calorie just slightly, right? So I still have a little ways to go. But from my breakfast standpoint, or I guess my breakfast for dinner, that looks good. That was a really nice, almost 1,000 total calories. Carbs jumped up 163. I love that. I'm actually going to go a little bit further on that dinner. I'm going to add in a few more raisins to it. It's already got raisins in it. I'm going to add 1/3 cup. And you can see here, it adds another 40 carbs. It's going to keep, see my carb at the top now, only down to 29.7 that I need. This is really getting into the range that I want it to get into. This is great. But obviously I've still got 300 calories that I need to make up. And I've already done pretty much every meal. What do I do? Well, this is probably the area where I start looking for opportunities to increase some of the volume here on what I'm already eating. If you recall earlier on my lunch, I had started with 7 ounces of ground turkey and I knocked it down to 5 just to see kind of how the rest of the day went. Let's actually go back and put that up towards our 7. It's not going to help a ton, but it helps a little bit, right? We were at 297 down to 182, and my lunch now is a little bit fuller, so I'll take that. Got to watch this fat at the top, down to 3.1. Got to be very careful here with how that goes. Let's take one more thing here. Let me see. So I need something with no fat almost, and a little bit of protein and a little bit more carbs. That kind of reminds me of this Greek yogurt here. You can see it in the middle of the screen from an earlier meal. I mean, it's 12 protein, 9 carbs, not quite enough carbs for me. I need a little bit more carbs first. Let's go back to dinner. I've got an idea here. Well, actually, let's see. You know what I might just do? I might just do another snack bar or a real fruit bar because they're delicious, frankly, and I could eat probably 5 of them a day. So I'm going to do 2 snacks throughout the day, a couple of frozen fruit bars. I didn't mention those were frozen fruit, which is really kind of nice. Now we're looking at a range here where things are starting to really get where I like them. So the one more thing that I want to do, I think, is let's go back to the dinner. And I had put on the raisins, I was going to do 1/3 of a cup. Let's bump that up just a little bit to like 1/2 of a cup. And let's see where we're at. Boy, that's looking good. I'm still a little bit under my my total calories, but I love where this is going so far. But I'm still quite a bit short on my protein. If I'm going to be short on something, I want to be short on fat, right? I don't want to be short on my protein or my overall calories. And you can see I'm short on protein and calories. I'm 9 under on my protein, 40 on my calories. So I'm going to do one more thing here just because I have manipulated this so many times at this point. I'm going to go, I mentioned the Greek yogurt earlier, right, which was up here on my breakfast. You can see I did a cup of the Greek yogurt or a container, and it was 12 protein, which would cover my protein at the top. Let's see, 9 carbs, which pushed me quite a bit over the carbs thing, but 0 fat, which means I'm going to be short on fat. And I'm good with that. I am happy with sort of that number. So I'm going to go then. Let's see what it looks like. Put my Greek yogurt in for dinner. Let's actually do that as a snack probably. It doesn't really matter how I label it, just for my own benefit. And this is perfect for me. This is a perfect day. It's barely over, but it's over. My protein is barely over. My carbs are a little bit high, but my fat is under. And this an entire day of full food. Frankly, I know what's going to happen is I'm going to get to the end of the day and I'm going to be trying to figure out how much more I still have to eat. So it's not like there's no food on here. I've got plenty of food to eat, and I've laid it out. This is exactly what I do every day to figure out, well, what am I going to eat so that I can hit my numbers. As far as going over on calories, you know, because I'm trying to build lean muscle, I would always rather be over my calories than under whatever my target is, but not by a bunch. So I try to keep it around 50 over or less. If I was cutting, I would be doing the same thing. I don't want to go too far under my target. So I'd probably be looking at somewhere in 50 or so or less on being under. So that's kind of my numbers. That's how I do it every single day. Now, I've got the benefit that I get to work from home. Actually, you know what? Let me switch over to real video and I'll finish those thoughts. Okay, so that's how I build my daily plans. Now, a lot of you probably don't want to build it every single day. You're just like, that's too much work, whatever. Or maybe you can't. Maybe you work at a job where you have to like be out of your house every day and you got to be at a building and you can't change your stuff every day. It's just too much hassle. The system is essentially still the same, which is you're going to figure out what your numbers need to be first. What are your targets? And then you're going to use the same type of system or app to sort of manipulate food that you are already eating and see what fits and what doesn't, and just move pieces around until you get to something that works. It took me a couple of weeks to get comfortable with building in this manner because it's a little bit difficult. Like you're trying to take, okay, well, what foods do I actually like already? You know, what foods do I already eat? And trying to figure out, okay, let me put those into the system and see what happens. So you put those into the system and then you figure out, okay, I'm short of this, I'm over on this, and you start moving some things around. You think next, well, what could I eat? What would I eat that would possibly fit this criteria? And it becomes a little bit of a back and forth, very puzzle, very much sort of like a challenge to figure out how to move pieces around to make your calories, to make your numbers get hit. So It does take a little bit of time to figure this part out. Whenever I first hired a trainer several years ago, they gave me a meal plan, they gave me an exercise plan, so I didn't have to do it myself, which at the time was very helpful because I don't think I would have been able to kind of wrap my brain around sort of how it gets done or doing it. It was a challenge to me whenever I did start, but you do get used to it now. For me, I just get on any single day and I can just start, because I know what foods I eat, I know what's already in my calculator, I can start moving some pieces around, and you'll get there too very quickly. So let me know if you got any questions on building your plans. I can offer tips or whatever. I'm not a trainer of any sort. I'm just showing you how it is that I do it, and hopefully it helps you out as well. So that's it. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go out and do my workout, because I'm looking out the window here and it's like 30 degrees. So I'm not super thrilled with the thought of stepping outside at all. I mean, I will, but it was supposed to be an off day for me, but I kind of want to get a little bit of cardio in, if nothing else, because at least the sun is out. But I know it's cold. I can see snow on the ground. We'll do that. So hope you enjoyed the macro part of this. That's how I set my macros every single day. And up next, I'll get out and do my workout. So see you in a bit.